Hey everybody, it's Robin down here in South Florida, otherwise considered the lucky ones when it comes to Isaias. We didn't get really any damage, but unfortunately there are plenty of people who did, and we're very, very sorry and saddened to hear that. Tonight, though, we are here to give you, as educators, an awesome alternative to feedback, something that'll make your lives easier, something that will give your students much more meaningful feedback than what they are most likely used to, at least without sacrificing your own self. So I want to say hello to Will Jackson from Mote and Katie Wells, who is from the GEG UK. Take it away.
Thanks very much, Robin. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Okay. Hey, Katie. Do you want to? You good? Right. So.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for having us, Robin, and everybody in the GG South Florida. Today, I'm going to give a very quick introduction to the company and the product, and I'm going to jump straight into a demo, and hopefully you'll find it of interest. So, introducing myself, I'm Will Jackson, the CEO of Mote, and I grew up in the UK, but I actually live in the San Francisco Bay Area right now. And before working on Mote, I was working here in the Bay Area for companies like Intel and Pandora. This is my first foray into education technology, but I've been really enjoying the experience of meeting so many teachers and educators. Over to Katie.
Hi everyone, so I'm Katie, I'm part of GEG UK and I'm in GEG Global. I'm a certified Google trainer and I'm in the VIA 20 cohort, and I'm going to be telling you about our little adventure with Mote.
Thanks, Katie. All right, great stuff. So before we go into the product, I just wanted to give some context as to how we got here, because we're a pretty new company. The product is very new. And we started out thinking only back in November of last year, thinking about us. My co-founder Alex and I were working on another startup, and we felt like there was a gap to address in our ability to work together remotely in products like Google Docs. We felt like feedback and teamwork working on product in Google Docs was just unsatisfactory. And so we began working on something in January, and the idea here was to make it really easy to add voicemail to anything. That was the idea, whether it be a Google Doc or it be any other piece of software we were working on. So that was our idea, and we launched it in March, just as the whole world was dealing and grappling with COVID. And almost immediately, we were struck by some of the feedback we received from our early users, who many of whom were teachers. And it seemed like the problem of giving feedback and on documents was a big unresolved problem for teachers. And we got lots of great suggestions from teachers to improve the product, including how to integrate into Google Classroom. And then it was all really go from there. We focused very hard over the last 4 months to improve the product, add the features that we were hearing from teachers. And just last week, we finally launched with our official fully launched product. Here in the US, we've gone through certification for COPPA and FERPA, so we have sort of passed all of our privacy certifications. And now we have our paid products available, both for individual users and also for schools and districts. So what is it that makes us, what gets us out of bed and gets us excited is this point about feedback being such a powerful influence on learning and achievement, but that giving good feedback can be really hard. So it can be the positive or negative impacts on the educational outcome. So many of you have read this famous Hattie and Timperley article from 2007. So, and one of the things in that article it talks about is how voice feedback, audio feedback can be really powerful. And this is one of the things that many of the people who've tried the product have seen, is that using your voice, not only is it faster in many cases, in fact, we can speak 2 or 3 times faster than we can write or type, but also as a tool of influence, as a tool of persuading the recipient, your student, of the intent of what you're trying to say and helping them internalize, not respond with an ego response, but respond thoughtfully and tackle that feedback. Human voice is a really powerful instrument. And so the product we've built tries to harness that as efficiently as possible. I was laughing because I'm seeing some of the comments in the field here. So, okay, let me show you a quick demo. So here I am in Google Classroom, and I've got an assignment here on the screen. And here in this case, my student, just going to zoom that in. My student has a paper they've just started writing, and I want to leave some formative feedback for Jim. Hey, Jim, this is a great start. I'd love you to tell us more about the Chinese paper industry and give us some more context. So I've left my voice comment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review and edit this transcript before I go on. So what I just did, I recorded the audio. Hey, Jim, it's going to play it back. Now I can read my transcript here. So in the background, we've transcribed it. And so actually it's done a really good job. So I don't need to edit it. But let's say I did want to edit it. I can just edit the text here and hit update. And that goes there. And then I will hit post. And then my comment will be here and available in the document, attached to the document. Now, one of the things I should have shown you before I started is that here in the menu at the top, you have the option of choosing a transcription language. We support lots of different languages. So maybe many of you might choose the English US as your transcription. And that just helps the model in the background have the best guess as to what you're saying, right? So if you're Australian, you would choose English AU. If you're a Spanish teacher, or if you're bilingual and you teach some students in Spanish, you can choose to use the Spanish sometimes and then change back to English. So that's one feature. And of course, you might just want to disable voice transcription in some cases, perhaps if it's really noisy and you're not getting the results you need. So I'll come back and talk more about some of the other features here later. Let's look at the student experience. So this is my student's screen. You can see it. And so Jim has just received this comment, and it's come up on his assignment here. And he can read and listen to my, hey Jim, he can read and listen to my voice note here. And he can respond as well. So Jim, I think, is on the student version of Mote, and he's a minor. And so there are some limitations, and we obviously treat minors slightly differently for adults. But Jim can respond to my voice comment saying thank you or asking for clarification. One of the other cool things that we've just introduced is that Jim can also click one of these little emojis to say, yep, I understand and I'll revise as suggested, or I may need help to understand this feedback. So let's say Jim clicks, I may need help. I'll go back to the other screen here, and I'm going to click on here at the top. I'm going to click on my activity and engagement. And I click through here. So you'll see at the top here, this is the voice note I just left. So this is the student's name who's received it. I can see that he's read it, he's seen it, he's listened to it, and I can see that he's commented and responded in this way. So with that, I can go back and I can maybe respond to Jim and try and provide more clarity or perhaps schedule a synchronous catch-up or catch him in class if we're still in class. One of the things we've also introduced is that as a teacher, we know you're busy, you've got lots going on. And so on a daily basis, you'll get an email that summarizes all of the engagement that you've had with the comments that you've left. So you would see of all of the voicemails, of all of the voice notes you've left, which ones have been read and seen, and the comments that you've had. We've also had a suggestion that we're going to add an additional reaction for students. So in this case, we think that there's room for, we think it would be helpful for one of the options for students to be, kind of raising a hand and say, I really could do with some help right now. And so we're going to look at a way to make that really quick and easy for you to access. So as soon as a student says, please help, we give you a priority notification of that. Let me show you what else have we got going on here. So yeah, here, as I mentioned, you can disable the extension if you had a lot of other things going on. You can click here. On our help site, we've got lots of content to help understand the product. But really, one of the things we found is that Mote is a fairly straightforward product for any teacher to quickly get up to speed with and to use. One other thing I should say is it also works in Google Docs and Slides and Sheets. It also works here in the private comment space here. I go to my family sort of page here. You can see you can add voice notes into the stream view as well. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to pass to Katie.
Hi.
Katie, did I miss anything really important, would you say, before I go on?
Don't think so, no.
Okay, awesome. Handing over to you then. Thank you.
Okay. So I work at a school called Chandling School. It's near Oxford in the UK. We're a private school. We go from reception to year 6. So you're 4 years old to 11 years old. So our school shut down on the 12th of March. We broke up for our Easter holidays and we did not go back. Over the Easter holidays, I managed to train we have about 50 staff with the use of Google, and we did a full-on timetable from beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May. The children did 6 40-minute lessons a day, Monday to Friday. We loaned out all our Chromebooks from school. So yeah, everyone learned really quickly how to do distance learning. Classroom became our main medium of teaching, and we accompanied all of that using Google Meets. So we did synchronous and asynchronous learning. So once the teachers had the teaching side sorted, we then obviously had the marking side. And it became quite heavy for the teachers. So our maths teachers particularly, and our language teachers, found it really long-winded typing in comments on those little private comment boxes on the children's work. And it was just taking them such a long time, and especially after you've done a day of online lessons, you don't then want to spend hours marking the work afterwards. So I looked around and I found Mote. A couple of people had said to me, have you heard of Mote? So I checked it out and I pushed it out to all our staff and taught them from the admin console and taught them what we can do with it. So as you've seen, the extension was super easy for people to grasp quickly how to use it. It's really easy to use. It comes up as that little purple spot in the bottom, in the corner of your private comment box, and it just opened up this gateway for all these teachers. It made the maths teachers loved it because they could convert their really complex feedback that they wanted to give the children. Rather than trying to write, you remember your angles need to add up to 180. They could talk through it and explain it. And it also helped our language teachers because, pronunciation and tone of languages, it became really easy for them to just say the comments back to the children. So it just came through so well. Sorry, I got sidetracked by the comment. So our learning support department loved it, benefited the most, because not only did we enable it for the learning support teachers, we opened it up to their children that they were teaching. So obviously the learning support teachers could give them a verbal comment as their feedback, and then the children could comment back. And especially for those children who find it so difficult to type, especially if they've just spent an entire day doing lessons and having to type, if they could just record the verbal feedback back to the teacher, then it made it so much easier for them. It was our learning support teachers who work across, we've got 5 schools in our trust. So they were going round and obviously taking it to the other schools. The other schools were like, wow, what's this? So then we ended up pushing it out to all 5 schools in the trust, so that they were all using it by the end of, 16 weeks of lockdown. We then continued to use it. We did go back to school for our final 2 weeks. But the children were in, but not necessarily all the teachers were in. So we continued using it when we were back at school as well, because it became just a normal, so much easier to give feedback that way rather than typing it. So we all know that how worthwhile it is. So overall, it was the staff just found it so valuable to be able to leave that good, worthwhile feedback to those children. And I think, yeah, we're excited about the new features that are coming. So being able to have the languages and to be able to see if children have read your comments, which is something we always wonder. So it'll be really valuable to be able to see if they've read them and that they can feed back to us about their comments.
Hey, Katie, I'm just going to interrupt here for a second. I was thinking to myself as an educator, since I'm in the classroom, that's my primary job. If we weren't, if we weren't virtual, if we were face to face, how, and Will too, I'm sorry, let me bring Will up as well. How well could this work? What kind of strategies do you think that this could use in the actual classroom, not just being virtual?
Yeah, I mean, I can take a stab at that. We've heard from teachers, particularly teachers who sort of enjoy this sort of flipped learning model, and they find this is a good way of interacting offline with students outside of class. I've actually had some examples of teachers even using it, with students fully, in the room, but kind of responding and using it as a way of interacting as well. So the fact is that we know that we're moving more to an increasingly sort of hybrid world, right? And I think that this is just one tool among many that I'm sure you're all exploring as to how to broaden the influence model, like the influence methods that you have to get the message across to students, to gauge and measure their learning, their progress. But really, we're looking to learn as much as possible. I would say, the majority of the usage that we've seen had been remote, but I've been surprised, and delighted to hear all of these other use cases as well.
Yeah, I suppose also if you're leaving comments on the children's work, you're leaving a Mote message, then it's there for long term. Whereas maybe if you give them feedback in the class, they could forget it or strategically forget it. Then at least if there's a Mote comment on their work, then they will remember it and it's there. So at least, so it's a way that, if they go home that evening and they're carrying on their essay that they were writing in their English lesson, they can listen to what you told, what the comment was.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of academic studies that have been done with students at university. That's sort of where there's been the most, at colleges, right? So sort of older students, but like really proving out that there's a really positive, sort of perception from students of the impact of using voice as well. So yeah, I'm looking through the feed to see if there are any other questions and comments coming through.
I can't see many.
Well, one of the things, I mean, perhaps this is obvious to you, but it was something I had to learn.
This one.
The benefit of time saved. That was one of the key things I learned, was just how, for many teachers, this was just saving them a lot of time every day in responding, particularly if you've got hundreds of students in some cases, right? What was that comment you just highlighted?
We had this question. So do students have to download it or just the teacher?
Yes, so maybe I should quickly demo what it looks like if you don't have the extension. But the short answer is no, it's entirely optional to have the extension. There are certain benefits in having the extension, but it's by no means necessary. So let me, if I may, maybe I'll just very quickly share my screen again. There we go. So I'm going to go back into my persona of Jim, and I'm just going to disable the extension, so as if it's not there. All right. So, so what you'll see is that instead of having the card, you'll see a link like this. If I click on the link, this is what the student would see. Now, they can still click on here. Now, in this case, I'm logged in as Mote Tester or Jim. And so it will show, if they click on this, I'll know their identity. They're not logged in, I would see it as anonymous, but you'll know because you've left it for that individual student. So the other key thing to note is that if students are using a mobile device, maybe they're looking at it on the Classroom app on their iPhone or iPad, they would see a link like this. And I'd say it's a good experience, but it's definitely much better on a Chromebook or a laptop that has a Chrome browser.
Yeah, so we didn't push it out to all our children at school. The teachers had it, and then so the children would see, Miss Wiles has left you a comment, click here to listen to it. So then they would listen to it, but then we pushed it out to the children that we wanted to sort of speak back.
Yeah, and I think clearly it's something that some students will be much more comfortable with. Like some of us are not, very comfortable leaving voice notes, using WhatsApp voice messages, and other people less so. So from the student's point of view, clearly it's something that may not be for everyone, but I think there will be some of your students who will love using this as a way to communicate. Does the school domain have to authorize to use on the account for Classroom? So no, not at all. You as an individual teacher can install this and start without needing anything else. It might not be a bad idea to let IT know. Sometimes we've had issues with firewalls and so on, but no, you don't need anything else in particular. If you do, in fact, though, want to deploy this across a fleet of Chromebooks, it's really easy. There's something in the admin tool of any G Suite deployment that you can simply add the extension, and you can push it out to every Chromebook on your network. And we've had many schools now do that. And we do it in a way such that it kind of happens in the background. The students don't need to know anything, but when they come into Classroom and the first time a teacher's left them a note, they'll see it render in that way, and then they'll be able to interact as well.
Hey, I'm just going to pop in here one more time. Jessica brought up that she had been using Screencastify. I don't know how familiar you are with that. What's the differences? Now, we know that we can leave voice comments for our students in Google Docs. And we know that we can, as Jessica put in there, go through their essay and use Screencastify to use voice notes. What makes this better? It's like, I think I know in my mind, but I don't want to mislead people.
So let me clarify. Yeah. So first off, you can use voice in a Google Doc. So you can dictate and voice in a Google Doc. It's a great feature. Everyone should try it. It's a slightly different experience. Remember, it's only just doing voice to text. But it's definitely good. If you're tired of typing, it's a great thing to try. You can't do that with comments. That's not supported. But even if you could do it, then they wouldn't be capturing the audio. So we focus on the fact that the students want to hear the audio. The audio is powerful, but the transcript is an additional benefit as well. So you get the text and the transcript with our product. Screencastify is an amazing product for creating demo videos. And sometimes, maybe if you want to talk, maybe it's a piece of art or it's a long presentation, and you've got lots of kind of high-level comments you want to give all over a document. You can create a video, and that's a great way of giving feedback on a document or an assignment. But it involves creating a video. And I mean, Katie, maybe you can speak to this. You've tried it, right? But it's quite different, right? That's one approach. There's many benefits of it. We've had teachers who've told us that they find our product much simpler than using Screencastify. But I think everyone should try both and see what they think.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I was to Screencastify something, then obviously I do the Screencastify and then I have to put the link in to, whereas this just does it automatically. I don't have to like open another tab and go somewhere else. Yeah. It's all done within the doc. So yeah.
I think that's a really good point. If you count the number of clicks, we're like a 3-click product. Click to start, click to stop, click to publish. It's 3 clicks and then you're done. That's what we've really focused on, is knowing teachers are busy. Teachers have got a lot of other demands on their time. How do we make this workflow as simple as possible?
Can you explain the differences? Because we know that there is a free version. The major differences between the free version and then the other tiers. It seems like the free version should be able to meet all of our needs, but I don't know if there's something that I'm missing.
Well, I hope they don't meet all of your needs, otherwise I don't have a business. So what we are trying to do, we're trying to balance the needs of, we're trying to make a great free product, but we are trying to add a bunch of other functionality in the paid product. So the main difference will be, so everybody gets a free trial. So you start on having the full product for at least 2 weeks. And there's a way to actually extend that 2 weeks to up to a year by simply recommending Mote to other friends and colleagues. For every person you bring on, you get an extra month or 30 days of free usage of the product. So it's a great way to extend a free trial. The free product at the moment has a limited number of voice notes you can leave and doesn't support transcription. And we are going to be making some changes to that product, which I'm not going to, suffice to say, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be, I think, making that product, I think better and stronger to meet more needs. But the paid products, I think, are great if you need to leave the transcription, if you want longer comment length, and if you want the reactions feature I shared. That's part of the paid products as well. And really, frankly, from our side, we're going to be investing most of our innovation in really adding lots more value to that paid product so that we can improve your understanding of student learning and make that whole feedback loop experience much better for the teacher and the student. And so, yes, I'd say this, but both are great. I know that, Katie, anything to add?
No, obviously we used it during the time between March and now. So yeah.
Yeah.
With Palm Beach County, and I know that since we're focusing a lot right now because this is our South Florida gig, we in Palm Beach County get lead money. So some of you out there will understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you might call it something else. But with our lead money, I'm thinking that this would be a great investment because, as we already discussed, it's great for face-to-face as well as virtual. So it's not like, oh my God, I'm going to, spend my $20 and I'm not going to be able to use it past October, because you can still use it. So that's just kind of a thought for people to have.
I'd say definitely.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, our sense is that, there's a lot of things that people are going to, sort of new ways of working are going to be developed and continue. Is the paid version?
People asking, is the paid version for a year?
Yes. So our pricing at the moment, so there's a discounting everything 20% for early adopters, but so $39 for a full year of subscription to the premium unlimited product. And we've got the essential product for $19 for 1 year. So again, we think that's, great value. $19, use it for a whole year. If you just want to leave audio voice notes, and $39 if you, value having the transcription and some of the other features I talked through as well. And we are talking to a lot of schools. There are some great pricing we're offering for schools, and if a school wants to work with us on a pilot, there's even some great incentives for schools to work with us on a pilot as well.
Okay. Did you finish your presentation, or do you need to bring your screen back in?
I'm happy to show anything more. If anyone wanted me to, I could go through the pricing in specific detail if there are any questions about that. I'll show other examples of the product being used.
Maybe a good idea, the pricing.
Yeah. The pricing and then
the structure and the different things that each package gets.
Yeah, great. Let me do that. So
it's nice to know, and some people have been bringing it up too for our, well, in the US anyway, that our English language learners and also our ESE. I don't know what it's called in other countries, but just easier ways for students to understand what the feedback means.
Yeah, that's a great point. And actually, one thing I'll point out on our website, if you go to justmote.me, we've got some examples here of feedback we've received from various teachers. So we've got elementary, I was told it should say English language arts, humanities is more of a British thing. But we've had fantastic, feedback and responses from teachers across lots of different subject areas. One of the things I haven't included here, but I probably should, is we get a lot of great feedback from teachers working with students who either without English as a first language, or even students with learning difficulties. It's again just a great tool to add to the repertoire. So as I mentioned, the free product. The cool thing is, important to remember, no matter what tier, receiving voice notes is completely unlimited. There's another feature here. You can easily create emojis in comments. So maybe I'll quickly show that here. So maybe the student can respond with a smiley face. Hang on. That's it. I beg your pardon. I have just disabled that, haven't I? So let me just go back to this one. So maybe it's me as the student or as a teacher. I'll come back and show that. I'll come back and show you that in a minute. It's the problem with having all these different pages up and running. No, not that one. Let me just go back to... So pricing tiers. So the free product, everything includes the emojis and unlimited receiving. At the moment, there's a limit of 20 voice notes creating a month on the free service, but I mentioned we are looking at extending that. As I mentioned, the pricing, so $19 for the essential tier. You get unlimited voice notes created, but you don't get the transcription. Feedback, the reactions is just available with the more expensive version of the product. Two features that we're working on, hope to have soon, is the ability to translate a transcript. So this, again, I think for students without English as a first language, perhaps if you wanted to give a student feedback on an assignment, and you know that English isn't their first language, then perhaps you might want to, so they can listen to your voice note in your native tongue, that you can translate it very easily into, say, Spanish or Portuguese, whatever the language of the student was. And then we're also adding a feature to allow you to save and retrieve voice notes from what we call a Mote book. And so this is I think there's an equivalent feature in Google Classroom, but very easily save, press a generic piece of feedback about grammar or structuring of sentences or introductory paragraphs, and you'd leave that feedback and quickly be able to retrieve it and put it with any student's assignment. So those are the sort of features that we have right now. Any questions on that? Yeah. I'll hold off on the emoji demo. Anything?
No, it was just people. So yeah, you're wanting to make like a comment bank.
Yes.
Of canned responses, so that you don't always have to sit there when you're marking and go, record, well done, stop, record, well done, stop. If you've got that as a canned response, you'll be able to just go input, input, input. But obviously, valuable feedback, not just going well done.
No, exactly, yeah. So we I mean, again, there's lots of things we'd love to do with that. I mean, we know we might try and make easy ways for you to actually integrate some element of personalization with something from that Mote bank as well, that combination.
And then your translate feature would be handy for those English as additional language children.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of the things that we've heard, and we're really interested in seeing how it's received, because we know, we've certainly heard already that for students with English as a second language, this has been a great addition to the teachers' toolkit, and we've had a lot of modern languages teachers in general adopt Mote, so a great addition. I'm going to show you the emoji feature now. That I've actually found the screen where I can add it. So here I'm just back to my page here. So really easily, one of the things we've done is we've introduced, if you wanted to add a smiley face or a thumbs up, or really anything, COVID. So yeah, very easy. If you sometimes just leaving an emoji is a nice, quick and easy, friendly way to leave feedback for a student. We made that really easy.
Yeah. That all good?
I think that's it. Yes. Any more questions?
So if you've got any questions, bung them in the chat. If not, has Robin got any other ones? Have you spotted any? Someone did ask, where did the name Mote come from?
It's a great question. It is, in fact, a real word, and it means a tiny speck of something. And we thought that was kind of cool because we wanted to be something that would build into other people's products in a really kind of unobtrusive way. So yeah, it's an old English word that comes, I think, from Dutch originally, mote. But we also like the fact that it does sound a bit like kind of note and media note. That was the idea.
There you go. That was a question right back at the beginning.
Great. Well, thanks very much for hosting us, South Florida.
And if that's all, if Robin's got anything else to add?
Nope, I've kind of been dominating a lot of this, and I apologize, but just for my own edification, I want to make sure. And this seems to live up to everything that I really was looking for, and I don't know why I wouldn't want to use it. It just sounds really, really cool. So I thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Someone has asked, is there a way, if they have any future ideas for you, is there a way to send you feedback?
Yes.
On your website? The
best, I mean, you can go to the website. You can always send things to us. You can always respond to any of the emails you get from me. The best place, I'd say right now, is we have a Facebook group. I will find the best way to share that link. I don't seem to be able to add a comment, but we have a Facebook group, and if you're interested, it's a great place to discuss. I'm very active in there. I love hearing kind of comments and feedback from users, from teachers. So if you are interested, drop me a line, or I think I'll put it in Twitter as well. So just feel free to come join. It's a great place to go. Have you added it?
I'm just getting the link to the Facebook group.
Okay. Yeah. And check out, we've got a lot of questions answered on our support page, support.justmote.me, or go to the website. And you can also submit new questions there. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the main thing, is that we see this as a space where there's so much opportunity to continue to improve the feedback experience. We know that teachers spending a significant amount of their time, especially during lockdown, but at any time, providing individualized feedback. And there are an increasing number of tools that allow you to scale and get great instructional materials. But ultimately, you're still going to need to have one-on-one interaction with students. So our mission is to try and make that as effective and as efficient as possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about when you're marking at home and you're flicking through those on Google Classroom and you're going through all the different students, by the time you've got to the 5th one, you don't want to be typing anymore. So being able to just record really easily is valuable. All good.
Thank you, Dina. Great. Well, thanks very much, Robin. I guess we sort of wander off this way and
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice, it's afternoon with you guys, isn't it? I'm going to bed.
Evening. Yes. Thank you for staying up, Katie. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.